I'm here together with Stewart Rogers for our trend interviews. You're from VB Insight, the Venture Beats Research department or company, and you're one of UK's marketing tech experts. Involved in a lot of discussions on how the marketing tech evolves in the companies, and I'm honored to have you here in our interviews today. But please introduce yourself first.
Well, thanks very much for having me. The honor's all mine. Yes, as you say, I'm Stewart Rogers. I am one of the people who analyzes the marketing technology universe. That's all of the marketing technology products that are out there across all of the different domains and subdomains, such as conversion optimization, email marketing, marketing automation, etc., etc. Currently, we're looking at a universe that includes maybe 2,500 products. It's a space that's increasing at triple-digit growth year on year, so it always keeps us, and me in particular, very, very busy, keeping up to date with what is going on in marketing technology. So I write lots of marketing technology news for VentureBeat, and I also write reports, studies, and do analysis on marketing technology for VB Insight, which, as you say, is VentureBeat's research arm. I've spent maybe 25 plus years in sales and marketing and running software businesses. And so I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been on the side where I'm using all of these solutions to try and improve my business, and on the other side where I'm analyzing and reporting on what these solutions can do for other people.
Great. So my question to you would be, what are your thoughts on the key drivers for marketing, for the marketing tech evolution or revolution? Some talk about the revolution in this regard in 2016.
Yeah, for sure. So marketing technology, it's a really interesting space. But it's a space that has been predominantly reported on and analyzed on from the perspective of the really big companies, the Fortune 500s in the United States, the Times Top 1000, the big corporations. Of course, these are companies that can afford to buy and implement all manner of marketing technologies very easily. It's very simple for them to afford to purchase these solutions. It's quite simple for them to put the budget in to hire the relevant people to help make these things happen. Of course, that's where the research has gone, and with good reason. People want to research the Fortune 500 companies because those are also the people who have the money to buy the research, right? So it's no surprise that that's where all of the research companies have put their money. It does mean that we end up with some really good quality research, but the numbers are skewed in favor of those that can afford the technology. So Aberdeen Group, for example, they do great research. They had their State of Marketing Automation 2014 report, and they said that best-in-class companies are 67% more likely to use a marketing automation platform. They're not saying that 67% of companies use a marketing automation platform, just more likely to use it. And Serious Decisions, they do great research too, and they did a research on adoption of marketing automation, and they said that there are nearly 11 times more B2B organizations with marketing automation today than there were in early 2011. Of course, these are great stats. They show a lot of growth in various marketing technologies, and that's always good. The reality of marketing technology, though, is that across what I call the Fortune 30 million, which is basically all other companies in the United States, and of course there's another 30 million in Europe, and so on and so forth. You look at each region, and we're talking about millions upon millions of businesses who are all trying to survive every single day. Some of these companies, the ones that have maybe 10 employees and above, certainly the ones with a marketing function, and if they're B2B, they probably have a sales function. If they're B2C, they probably have an e-commerce or m-commerce site or some other way of providing their product or service in a pure play way. For them, the reality of life is that they have to sell or they die. And for them also, that means that if they're going to invest in marketing technology, they absolutely have to be sure that for every pound, euro, or dollar they spend on marketing technology, they get a really good return on that. It's not the way that it works in Fortune 500 companies. If they're not making the profits they like, or if they're not getting the shareholder value they want, they just hire better lawyers and accountants. They don't actually need to sell anything more. They just need to maybe change the way they're reporting on their books. So it's not realistic for us to take research that points to the Fortune 500 and apply that to everyone else. The reality is, I did my own research based on the Fortune 30 million, and the reality is that marketing technology as a whole still has a sub 5% penetration. And that's because the vast majority of people don't need it because they don't have a marketing function. And out of those companies that do need it, and if we think about just the companies that are big enough to need marketing technology, the Fortune 500 represents 0.005% of those companies. So that's why it's not realistic to talk in Fortune 500 terms, across these businesses. But these are companies that do need marketing technology to help themselves, but they're finding it too complicated. So 2016 for me, and knowing what I know in terms of the solutions I've seen that haven't launched yet, it's a great position to be in when you're working for a tech news publication because you get to see a lot of things ahead of time. And I can tell you that without mentioning any names, you're going to see in 2016 a lot more solutions that focus on being as easy and simple to use as is humanly possible, and maybe approach problems in a different way. So rather than just another CRM system that's just another set of boxes on a screen for people to fill in, which is the problem with CRM because salespeople don't like filling in lots of boxes on a screen. You're going to see much, much more interesting and different ways to solve that problem that are a lot more suitable to the way that salespeople work. And the same goes across all different marketing automation, marketing technologies, sales technologies, advertising technologies. They're all going to, if they're going to want to break into the SME market, they're going to be much, much simpler and much, much easier to use, a lot more mobile focused because that's the way we work now, especially if you're roaming around traveling to do your job, you're on your smartphone. So we're going to see a lot of people who approach these things in different, simpler ways in order to increase the penetration of these technologies and get the results that people want to see.
Talking in terms of simplicity that you mentioned, and talking also about those not Fortune 500 companies, all the others out there, I see that if we think about the marketing technology, it's very much diversified. So you got the marketing automation tools, you got conversion optimization approaches, and so on. But if we think about these companies, these not Fortune 500 companies, they need one seamless solution that helps them doing the digital business, don't they? And I don't see this yet in the digital marketing tech space, especially when I talk about that there are a lot of different well, I would say, yes, specialities in terms of the software approaches. So what is your take about this?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I first started writing the State of Marketing Technology study, I looked at attitudes and investment in the marketing technology space. And one of the things that I did was I asked several thousand marketers how many tools they use on a given day and also in a given month in order to basically do their marketing, And it was really eye-opening. On an average day, we saw that people were using a stack of 9 or 10 tools on a day to do their job. And companies were using anything between 20 and 100 tools per month to do their marketing. And this is a really fragmented approach, but it's the approach that people have had to take because, of course, everyone, every vendor is trying to get their slice of the pie. So there are no standards involved here. Everyone is trying to approach the problem from their perspective. They are not worried about whether their tool integrates with other tools. You do get some integration suites. So of course, Salesforce famously have their entire universe of third-party solutions, and everybody within that, integrates with Salesforce, and Salesforce therefore has become a really important hub for a lot of third-party sales and marketing tools, because those do at least integrate with Salesforce's version of what data should look like, the Salesforce database. And if you look around, you'll see that you've got similar setups with Adobe, with Marketo, with other big marketing technology companies. And that's good, but most of the rest of the vendors are trying to cut out their slice of the pie. So they're not worried about integration. They're trying to get you to use their platform, and to stick with their platform, because that's how they're going to reduce their churn and make sure that they have a subscriber number that's going ever up, rather than one that's going up and down, or even worse still, everyone joins in and then everyone drops off. That's the worst possible scenario for a SaaS company. So, we are in a situation where people do have to use marketing technology stacks of tools to get the job done.
Mhm.
But we're seeing some consolidation. We're seeing, even though there's been triple-digit growth in the number of marketing technology solutions year on year for at least the last 3 years, that I've been, looking at the space. And as I said at the outset, we're now, on our radar, there's more than 2,500 products. And I suspect that by the end of this year, there'll be thousands more. Um, Even though that is still happening, we are seeing some consolidation. We're seeing some big deals, like Constant Contact got acquired last year for over $1 billion, proving that, well, maybe not proving, one acquisition doesn't prove very much, but email is still the highest return on investment marketing channel available. In our own studies, we've shown an average return on investment for email marketing of 246%, which is outstanding in anyone's terms. And it's still an important space. And we will see simple solutions that do integrate with main hubs like Salesforce do very well, because they're making life easier for people in that respect. The data is the problem. When you have all these stacks of solutions, it's very easy, very simple to end up with lots of different databases that don't talk to each other. And then when you start to try and build a single customer view of everything you know about a customer, that's either a lot of development, which is something that small companies are not, typically, unless they're a tech startup, they're not typically ready to get into, looking at APIs and doing development work and everything else to try and knit data together. Or you're looking at hiring in, consultants to help with ETL, extract, transform, load processes, put new platforms in, or you're trying to cobble it together in some way. I've seen lots of smaller companies get a cheap business intelligence solution in and try and bring all the data into that, and then transform it within a business intelligence solution, just to get some kind of idea of what their customers look like. None of these are good solutions. So another trend I see for 2016 is that we'll see more data startups that are, hopefully, as a platform as a service or software as a service, going to solve some of these big data issues by doing the work for people in a very simple and effective way.
And for the companies, on the other hand, it's the key challenge would be making sense of those different data silos they got now. This is right.
Yeah, and there's a certain amount that you can do with a good data platform, whereby it's very easy for us to understand the difference between an email address, an address, social network ID, and other points of data. It's not so easy to understand transactional data, call history, email history, all of these other CRM stalwarts, all of the communications that you've had with those companies, and understanding them in a really smart and intelligent way and bring them into a single customer view. Because of course, those transactional pieces live in all of the different silos that are sitting around the company, that marketing and sales stack, and worse still, if you've got an ad tech stack as well. How do you bring that all together into a single customer view? It's very, very difficult, and most small companies will not try to even start with that challenge, because that's a lot of money, a lot of expense, and it's a cost. There's there's not there's not a study that's been done in terms of the return on investment of cleansing your data in these ways. So it's very unclear as to what you would get at the other end of doing that data cleansing, versus just continuing to use 100 products a month.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll see, more tools do a better job this year of addressing all of the points within a domain. So, for example, I did a study of conversion rate optimization tools. And within that, I studied, other than studying 3.2 million US websites to work out what CRO tools they were using, I also surveyed over 3,000 CRO tool users. The good news is that conversion rate optimization got those 3,000 plus CRO tool users an average return on investment of 224%. And that is outstanding. That's almost as good as email. Certainly a lot higher and a lot better than the average return on investment that people are seeing from marketing automation products at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So CRO is great. It does a great job. But what we also saw is that people are still using stacks of CRO solutions because there isn't one tool that does everything that you'd want a CRO solution to do. That will change in 2016 because we're going to see some vendors come out with CRO tools that do everything within a single package. And if they're successful, and if they manage to, get the numbers of users that they're expecting to get, then that will herald a big change in conversion optimization.
Mm-hmm. So, just getting to the end of this interview. So, if you have one concluded the decision makers within the companies, what would that be that they should work on in 2016?
I think that the big thing here is that we've been talking for many years about how complicated marketing technology is, and in how many people there are in the space. And I've done that today at least twice. I've mentioned, how many marketing technology vendors there are, and that makes the space seem rather complicated. What I would like decision makers to do is to, and it's a little bit obvious for someone in research to tell people to do research, but I'm going to go there and be that obvious. But do your research based on, maybe people that are looking at the wider picture and not just the Fortune 500s. And do your research based on who is actually discovering, which marketing channels are working for which types of companies. We can't just say, because 67% of best in class companies are more likely to use marketing automation, that marketing automation is something everyone should go after. It's quite clear from the return on investment stats for uh, all the companies that whilst marketing automation is good and does a great job, it isn't as good as building your email list and using a great quality email marketing tool right now. It
Mm-hmm.
isn't as good as using conversion optimization to double the conversion rates on your website, because that's a lot cheaper and a lot easier to do than doubling the traffic on your website and keeping your conversion rate the same. So do the research and work out what is working for your type of business. Your type of business might be B2B versus B2C. That might be how you break it down. You might want to go granular and look if there's research that people have done in your particular vertical market. But it's got to be based on return on investment, and it's got to be based on, what is working and what is popular. Because actually, when you break marketing technology down in those terms, there are a few standout vendors that produce really good results for companies of all shapes and sizes and all types. And that then changes the question. And that the question for 2016 needs to stop being, look at how complicated marketing technology is. It needs to start being, why aren't we doing this? And when we're talking about average returns on investment from email of 246%, average returns on conversion optimization of 224%, those are the kinds of pieces of research, those are the kinds of results and statistics that will change that question to why aren't we doing this? And that's when business owners, marketers, sales managers, advertising people will start saying, do you know what, we have to use marketing technology because these are the results they're delivering for everyone else.
Great. Thank you for this great interview.
Thanks very much.